Hello everyone and welcome back to Excellent Gamers. My name is Senkai and today I'm here to review Nights of Azure 2, Bride of the New Moon. A game for Nintendo Switch that I just finished, and I think I have to talk about it because it's kind of weird. It's a pretty bad game, but I liked it. I thought it was fun. Like I said, I finished the game, and this my last session with the game was many hours. Like I played all day because I had so much fun. So let's get to it. Well, to begin with, the game has graphics like I've never seen before in a modern game. It probably doesn't have a budget at all. I don't know. It's pretty mediocre. The same goes with the frame rate. It's terribly low, especially playing in handheld mode. It's incredibly choppy. People on PC complaining about 30 FPS haven't seen gameplay like this because it runs really slow. But besides that, it's kind of fun to play. It's pretty bare bones in gameplay as well. It's very limited. However, it's kind of addictive because it's so easy in a way to progress the kind of different mechanics and systems. It's really grindy in a way, but at the same time it has time management, so you have to grind with structure. I want to say it's pretty cool. First, I want to talk about because you might not have the best graphics, but at least you have art style that's kind of appealing. I like the world they make with this, and the game doesn't have a lot of levels. It has like 6 or 7, but you replay them a bunch of times, and there are different routes you can take in the levels, and because you replay them over and over again, with different characters, you get to hear about them talk about the different levels and what they used to do there back in the day and stuff like that. It's kind of they're building a world here, and it got addictive to play because you want to know more about the world and the characters, even though it was kind of limited. It is a hack and slash game, kind of like the Muso or Warriors series, but I like it even more than those games because you are more focused on what you're doing right now. You're not constantly on your way somewhere, even though you have a time limit, so you always have to move forward. But in Muso games, you're running back and forth to capture camps, and you know you might know how those games works. It's hack and slash, but kind of like strategy-esque as well. This is more of a action RPG. It's just the hack and slash mechanics works like those, where you have a quantity of enemies rather than like one strong one. You can block and dodge, and I didn't block too much. There are boss battles where you might want to block every now and then, but it's more about using the right attacks to not have to block. You can be like super offensive instead, and so you have your main character. She's called Alush, I think, and she has like the light attacks and the heavy attacks. So you can combine those. You can do like light heavy and light heavy, and so on. And you can also jump, so you can do like the jump heavy and so on. You can combo however you like. But you also have your partner, and this plays into many of the other aspects of the game. You gain affection points when you use different partners, so you also have quests, and some quests are specific to certain partners. So because the game is on a timer, you'll have a set amount of times you can do missions before the game ends. And you also have a set timer on those missions. So every mission you have to beat within 10 to 15 minutes, depending on skills. When you level up, you can increase the timer, but there is still a timer. And the highest I could get it to was like 18 minutes. You can get it higher probably, but for me it was like the last mission had a timer of 18 minutes, and at the beginning of the game was like 8 or 10 minutes. But every time you go out to do one of these missions, when you get back, the like game long timer decreases. You have this moon, and you can see the light on the moon, but it fades away. So when the moon is all dark, the game ends. So you have to really do as much as possible within this timer on each mission. So you go out on a mission, you have picked your partner, you had looked at your quests, and if you can do 2 or more quests on a single mission within this timer, then you're good to go. Because if you just do one mission, go back home and go out again, you reset the timer and you waste time on this like moon. So you will get a game over if you're not efficient with the time. I like time management in games, and this one did it really good because I really had to think like which partner to bring with me on certain missions and such. I spoiled that if you want to get the good ending of the game, you have to max out affinity with 2 special characters, and it kind of makes sense in the story as well. So you could probably figure it out as well on your own. But some might need the New Game Plus to have enough time to do that. But I was able to get it on the first playthrough because I was told that I have to max those 2 out. So I would use those 2 different characters, and they run next to you when you're in battles. So if I would pick one of them, she had like magic attacks, and the other one was more close ranged. And you have a partner gauge, so when you attack enough, you can do like these super moves every now and then. And depending on which partner you have, you do different super moves. So you can do one that does a lot of damage to like a boss, or if you pick another partner, you can defeat more enemies, like a bigger, wider attack, so to speak. So the gameplay mechanics are pretty funny, or like fun, entertaining, addictive, what I'm trying to say here. You also have pets in the game, monsters that you can also level up, and they work in 2 different ways. The monsters can either transform into a new weapon, and that's pretty cool because the weapons have new combos. So if you are you're playing as the main character, Alush, like I said, and she have a sword to start with, like a regular sword. But if you use a monster that turns into like a spear, you have different attacks when pressing light, light, heavy, and so on. So either you can bring monsters with you that changes up the gameplay in that aspect, or you bring monsters that can use attacks right away. So you have like a cat that can breathe fire. That's the first one you get. Later on, you would get like much bigger monsters, but I would try and use different ones. There was some monsters that kind of like Pokemon has these moves you need to get secrets in stages. Like you had to burn down a certain wall, you had electricity, freeze, fire, and one that could make you jump higher. And sometimes you needed to jump higher to get certain treasures and stuff. You didn't need these particular monsters to beat the game, I don't think so. But if you wanted to get as much out of each mission, like I said, you only have a set timer of 10 to 15 minutes to do as much as possible on this stage. And you don't want to get the stage over with and still have like 5 minutes to go. You want to do as much as possible within this timer. And that's kind of why the game got lengthy. It took me 22 hours to beat, and that's because I would let all these timers run out. If I finished a mission in 5 minutes, I didn't want to waste potential like experience points or money or affection with my characters. So I would play the full timer of every mission, and it was kind of tight. The 2 characters I had to max out to get the true ending, one of them disappeared in a chapter, and I couldn't level her up. So I got kind of stressed out, but she returned just in time so I could max her out before the final boss. There are only female characters also, by the way. The entire roster is female characters. The bosses are female as well. They were talking about a man, like a researcher, I think that was a guy. That might have been a girl as well. I don't know, but it's a very fan service game, and I don't know if you can see that on the cover. Actually, not, and that's pretty cool because I mean this is a beautiful cover. I like it a lot, and the back of the box has some beautiful artwork as well. Um, but once you start the game, it's all like swimsuits and boobs all the time, so it's kind of boring like that. But the character designs and like the clothes and the monsters and the environment, everything, it's pretty good. I like I like how the game looks, but it's a bit too heavy on the fan service side of things, I think. But it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I know a lot of people really is really into that, so good for you. The music though was actually pretty good. So each location had their own song, and because you do the levels over and over again, it gets kind of repetitive. However, you bounce back and forth between the stages. So if you had like your favorite songs, sometimes it was nice to go back to a stage to hear it again. So it wasn't all that bad. I kind of liked that part of the game. So there were many things I liked about the game. Like I said, it's just very poorly made. It runs horrible, and the graphics are some of the worst I've seen. Like I said, it's really 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 bad. Where some mobile games I've seen look better. So kind of weird. But don't let that fool you. If you can find the game for a good price, I got it for $25, and I enjoyed it. So about that price range, I think it's worth it. The game goes for a full price almost everywhere I see it. It's like 50 or even 60 sometimes. That's way too much because once you beat this game, you probably won't go back to it. I'm very happy with the time I spent with the game. I had a lot of fun, but it's one of those 20 hours. You beat it, you're done. There was a free DLC pack that added this stage to the game with new music, new story, and I might actually go back and do that because, like I said, I had a lot of fun with the game, and that's a piece of content I have not experienced. So sure enough, might do that. And also, when you do beat the game and you unlock the New Game Plus, in New Game Plus, there is no time limit. So if you want to max affection with all your characters, see all the special moves, and really take your time with the game to fully enjoy the game, you can do so in a New Game Plus. So I say actually what I did, where I maxed out the only two I had to do to get the true ending, and like maybe check out the other stuff on the New Game Plus is better, because if you try out too many characters on your initial playthrough, you'll probably get the bad ending because it's timed. So that's what I did, at least. The different characters were very cool, though. I might play the game a bit more just to check those out, because some party members were really nice, and the variety in design comes with the main characters and the party, really. They all have different weapons and different styles, and these super moves you do are actually kind of varied. So I like that. I like that part of the game for sure. The story was good. I guess it was decent. It was enough to make you move forward, because it's a story about saving the world, and in between you have to save certain characters. So it's both this overarching story of saving the world, but at the same time you have different chapters where you need to like save a certain character and such. So you always have something you're doing. You always have this time limit and quests you want to do and affection you want to max. So you constantly have stuff happening in the game, and stuff you think about yourself while also enjoying a fun hack and slash title. So overall, decent game. I mean, it could have been a lot better, but I mean, for what it is, it's not as bad as I first thought it was. When I bought the game and I started it for the first hour, I was like, wow, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make this. But I pushed through, and the further I got, the more mechanics were introduced, and it got really fun at the end of the day. So I also want to mention I said this in my pickups video as well, that the game really reminds me of Castlevania Curse of Darkness on PS2 because of the RPG elements, and that it's more slower paced action, but still Muso-ish. And the monsters, the pets, you had those in that game as well. So the similarity is good, and there's not many games like that. So if you enjoyed Castlevania Curse of Darkness on PlayStation 2, check it out, because I think it was fairly similar actually, and one of the reasons why I enjoyed this as much as I did. Nights of Azure 1 I have not played, and a lot of people say that is even better than this one, and because I enjoyed this one as much as I did, I might check out the first game, but that is not on the Switch though. So we'll have to get that on PC or PS4. So I'm not too sure about that, but we'll see. So that'll be all for my review of Nights of Azure 2, Bride of the New Moon. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, as always, get gaming.